Hello there, this is Kimber Domke, mindful food and fitness coach, sharing with you a little bit of the Pilates background that has helped make my fitness routine very versatile and helps me just do a lot of activities I love. So I want to share with you some abdominal basics, and then we'll get into a little bit more intense work for the abs from there on out. So taking a moment to set up your spine on the ground, and also showing you that you can do this anywhere. If you're in a scenic locale, why not be outside? Just give yourself a little bit of padding to rest on. If you're in a hotel room, this works too, right? Towel up at the floor and you'll be good to go. All right, we're starting with a simple pelvic tilt. So just taking a moment to feel your pubic bone angling upward and then releasing into a neutral spine position. So imprint is when our pubic bone gets a little bit angled upward, our hip bones draw towards our bottom ribs, and our lower back sinks into the ground. You can see my lower back is gently pressing into the ground here. I'm gonna release that and then feel a gentle space creep in under my lower spine. Now, a lot of people try to do this imprint, they try to do this pelvic tilt by using their glutes. That's okay to start, but then you want to migrate on to feeling like your abdominals are really what's helping cause this movement of a pelvic tilt. So take a second and try to feel that your hip bones right here pull upwards towards your bottom ribs, and maybe touch and poke yourself a little on the sides of your waist to feel your obliques right along here. It's okay if you're a bigger person, a smaller person, whatever you are, just mush in there a little bit with your fingers and see if you can mentally help yourself to turn on those side waist muscles as you're doing this pelvic tilt. Awesome also to include a little bit of breathing. So every time that I tilt and angle the pubic bone up, I'm gonna think of breathing out and inhaling to allow an arch. I'm gonna try to send the breath into the sides of my ribs, the backs of my ribs, and inhale, release. Keeping your shoulders relaxed, keeping your head gazing upwards, whether you've got a palm tree above you or just a ceiling. And this is a great simple mobility thing that you can actually do anywhere, right? You could do this in a car, you could do this while standing in line, but the benefit of doing it while lying down on the ground is that you can feel much more clearly when your lower back is against the floor. So if you're not familiar with this movement, it's awesome to just start on the ground. All right, I'm also gonna take a moment to get into breathing. So a lot of people breathe into the chest. Life makes us very tense up top. We're always forward with our hands on keyboards and phones, etc., driving the car. And so we get very tense in this upper body area. And we also tend to breathe into our chest and our shoulders rather than using a lot of the lower and sideways lung capacity that we all have. So awesome here to just take your hands, take your 4 fingers around the front of your ribs, your thumbs around the back and sides of the ribs, and see how much you can let the air expand into this side and back zone of your rib cage. You can also consider the front too. I know a lot of Pilates emphasizes flattening your waist, but it's great also to be able to breathe into your belly. So take a few moments to just explore your breath. Explore how your abdominals tighten when you breathe out. Here I'm doing some into the belly. I'm trying to make the belly rise and fall, make it look like I almost swallowed a basketball. And take my hands there so I can notice the movement that I'm creating by sending the air into different places in my ribs, different places in my torso. Learning to breathe into other places beside your shoulders and neck will help to take the tension out of these areas that are already overstressed. All right, enough of that. Time to get into a little bit stronger core work. So we're gonna squeeze our legs together and curl up head, neck, and shoulders, and take a look at our tummy, stretch long through the legs, and then melt our way down. The legs are so underutilized by many people, so I encourage you to just engage your thighs, engage your glutes by pressing your legs into the ground, and try to feel really long through the upper spine as you take this little curl of head, neck, and shoulders off the ground. I'm letting my shoulder blades come off the ground but my lower back and the very bottom ribs stay fully on the ground. Adding on to this, I'm gonna curl up head, neck, and shoulders and float a single leg. Just reach it long, 2 inches off the ground, and then melt it back down. Taking a breath, reaching and stretching the leg long, and melting back down. If this is where you're at, no worries. You can keep it small. You can always modify by supporting your head if your neck feels fatigued. And if you want to advance from here, we'll curl up head, neck, and shoulders and float 2 legs off the ground. What's critical here is that your lower back is using that imprint. You're building on that pelvic tilt that we talked about to help make sure that your lower back stays on the ground instead of arching. Here's what not to do. If you can see, oh my goodness, an arch is creeping under there. My abdominals are losing their strength. They're not engaged, and that is super stressful on the lower back. So if that's how you feel, revert back to the single leg lifting. All right, if you're game, we're gonna add on into the Pilates 100. Now, of course, you can feel free to do this with a single leg lifted or knees bent tabletop if you need to modify. I'm gonna show a little bit of all of the versions. So we'll start with tabletop knees, curling up head, neck, and shoulders, and beginning the arms pumping. We're trying to breathe nice and wide into the sides of your ribs, keeping your shoulders relaxed, and using each exhale to pull your navel in towards your spine. If this is easy, you might go ahead and lengthen one or both legs, and you get to choose the angle. So if my legs are higher, it's gonna be less stressful on the lower back. If my legs are lower, I need to be sure that my core is super fired up so my lower back does not take the strain. And breathe in for 5 pulses of the arms, and breathe out. We'll take 2 more rounds. Inhaling, and exhaling. 1 more round. And exhaling. Let yourself rest. Turn your head a little side to side if your neck took on any tension. And we'll go into a little bit of an abdominal series from here. So the single leg stretch in Pilates is drawing one knee into chest and reaching one leg long. You want to feel like your elbows are drawing wide to the side, your lower belly is pulling in and up, your head and neck is gazing forward. Of course, if your neck feels tired, feel free to rest your head down. The key to this is feeling like your belly is working, the side waist is working, and no stress comes into your lower back. We're gonna take it into the double leg stretch. So inhale to reach your arms and legs long, exhale to circle and bring your knees right into your cheekbones. Exhale to circle. If you need to modify, of course, keep your head down on the ground and choose a leg angle that's a little easier for your lower back. So a higher leg angle like so will be less stressful on your lower back. If you want it to be tough, take those legs super low towards the ground. We're moving on to single straight leg stretch. 2 legs go up to the ceiling and a single straight leg lowers. You draw one leg towards you as the other one stretches away. And most people forget to consider that long leg that's reaching away. I actually want you to pay close attention to that one and try to feel like your glute and hamstring are fired up. Your shoulders stay away from the ears. Of course, you can always put your head down if the neck feels like it's stressing out here. And you can add a second pulse, so giving yourself a little more intensity to this stretch as you draw the leg in, using your arms for a bit of assistance. One fun variation, you might try your hands against the leg and think of lifting the leg off of your hands using your abdominals. This one's a toughie, so just an advanced option if you're looking to build on what we've done. And I'll change sides, breathing, lifting, pulling the waist in, letting the shoulders stay as calm as I can. And moving on to the double straight leg, lowering, lifting. 2 straight legs, lower and raise. If you want a little bonus, you could point and flex your feet here. I'm starting with my head down, but you might also start with your head, neck, and shoulders lifted, or give your neck that wonderful support. When I support my head, I'm mindful of pulling the back of the neck long, cradling the base of the skull, and trying to get those shoulder blades off the ground, the elbows a little wide to the side, so I'm spaced out across the collarbone and chest. We're moving on to the crisscross, but I'm gonna build up to it, and I'm gonna give you a moment to just find a little bit of relaxation for your lower back. So try your feet gently apart and let your knees move from side to side. You might let your head and neck move in opposition to that. All right, we're building up to the crisscross, the last thing in the Pilates series of 5. So hands go behind your head. We're gonna curl up head, neck, and shoulders, twist to one side, and try to stay centered on your mat. Try to keep your spine in one long line as you do this. Curl up to the center and twist with elbows wide, with spine forming one straight line down the center of your mat or towel or wherever you're at. Now here's what not to do. I don't want you to go over to the side like this, that. Instead, I want you to turn so your armpit and elbow reach to the back corner. Get that twist instead of a lean, instead of a lateral flexion to the side. Building on this, we're gonna take our knees tabletop. Make sure you've got that imprint, that heavy lower back, and curl up head, neck, and shoulders. Twist. Come up a little higher in the center. That's the key to really busting your abs, getting them stronger, getting them active, and helping to create support for your lower back. Lift higher as you come back to center. Give yourself a moment to rest. Lift, big twist, return, sink, lift, huge twist, return, sink. One more each way. Lift, twist, center, last side, lift, twist. Well, last side like this. I'm ready to add on. I'm gonna add on legs moving in opposition. So here we go into a more traditional crisscross exercise. Notice again that I'm trying to keep my spine centered instead of veering off crazily to the side, right? So work on that control of keeping your spine centered and getting a beautiful twist to happen. Oh my goodness, I'm feeling the burn. I hope that you are as well. And rest. After all of that work into the front body, it's awesome to give our hips a moment to open. So letting yourself enjoy a bridge position, feeling a nice stretch long through the front of the hip and thigh. And to activate even more in this, think of your heels drilling into the floor, the heel bones screwing outward gently, and the knees drawing forward so that I'm really creating length across the front of the hip and thigh. You might raise and lower in this bridge position, keeping a nice long neutral spine, staying straight from shoulders to hips. You might think about, again, the activation of your feet. So my arches are not totally asleep. The arches of the feet are actively lifting. My glutes and hamstrings are working to pull the knees forward. At the top of my bridge, I'm wary that I'm not shoving my ribs up and crushing my neck, but I'm keeping the pubic bone high and the rib cage gently lowered, so I actually feel my abs working at the top of this bridge. Trying to lower myself as one unit, so I feel the shoulder blades, the ribs, and pelvis all landing on the ground at the same moment. All right, I'm flipping over onto the stomach to give the back a little bit of chance to activate and to open my chest. So hands go low near your rib cage, nose can hover, and just give your chest a gentle lift off the ground while keeping your navel drawn in away from the floor. Once you know what to do, don't look at the video, keep the back of your neck long or put it right in front of you so you can see. And try to feel that, again, those shoulder blades pull back, the chest widens, the elbows narrow. The pubic bone remains heavy on the ground and your navel is inside you trying to lift up. It's as though there's a thumbtack sticking up at your belly button and you want to pull your belly button away from that thumbtack, not let yourself push your belly button into the imaginary thumbtack and be stabbing yourself. We want to feel relaxed through your lower back and most active in your middle and upper back. You can take this and add on to it by floating the elbows and hands gently off the ground. You may take your arms wide to give your chest a little more opening. I love this one for a good shoulder and chest opening. And go ahead and get on with your day. Just sharing with you a bit of core strength, the Pilates series of 5s, and a couple movements to counter all of that work that we did for our core by helping to open your hip in the shoulder bridge and get your back muscles fired up by doing that prone work lying flat on your stomach. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Kimber Domke, Mindful Food and Fitness Coach. Take a second to like and subscribe, and feel free to send any questions my way in the comments below. You can also head over to the website, kimberdomke.com, where you can sign up for email updates and things I don't share here in the videos. Thanks for watching, and wishing you awesome mobility, strength, breath, and core in your day. Ciao for now.